Welcome my dear learners for this course on design of machine elements 2. So far we have completed our discussion on design of bevel gear. From today's lecture we are heading to discuss design of worm gear. As you people already know, worm gear are used to transmit power between two non-intersecting shafts. If you observe, we have a worm which is also termed as pinion, and also we have worm wheel or worm gear. We always assume that the power is transmitted from worm pinion to worm gear. Hence, we always design worm wheel or worm gear by treating worm gear is the weaker member always in worm gearing. And also, if you clearly observe, the shafts, axis of the shafts of worm gear and also pinion are not intersecting. And also, these worm gears are employed to provide very high velocity reductions. If I want very high speed reduction, we can use worm gearing, wherein which we can transmit power between two non-intersecting shafts. And also, if you clearly observe, the line of the contact between the pinion and the worm gear is a line contact, it is not point contact. Since we have line contact between the pinion and worm gear, this transmits very high loads. So worm gear can be used to transmit very high loads because of line contact between the pinion and the worm gear. Coming for the disadvantage of worm gearing, the disadvantage of worm gearing is that it cannot be employed to transmit power between the intersecting shafts, and the very important disadvantage of worm gearing is that since it is employed to transmit very high loads, it is observed that it is subject for very high rubbing velocity. So since the rubbing velocity is very high, many a times this gearing arrangement requires artificial cooling. That is the disadvantage of worm gears. Coming for efficiency of worm gear, the efficiency of worm gear is defined as work done by the worm gear or worm wheel to the work done by the pinion or worm. If the worm gearing efficiency is less than 50%, then the worm gearing is said to be self-locking. That is, we cannot transmit power by employing torque on the worm wheel. So, whenever the worm gearing efficiency is less than 50%, it is termed as self-locking. So, this type of self-locking worm gearing system is employed in hoisting mechanisms. So, with this very brief introduction to worm gears, let us design the worm gear completely in today's lecture. Coming for design of worm gear, every engineer, mechanical engineer should know design of worm gear when pitch circle diameter is given, and also design of worm gear when pitch circle diameter is not given. That is, when center distance is known and when center distance is not known to us. The procedure employed to design the worm gear I will explain in the problem itself. So in today's lecture, let us solve a problem wherein which we don't know the pitch circle diameter of both pinion as well as gear. A very important note is that always remember, we will be designing worm gear or worm wheel by treating it as a weaker member in worm gearing arrangement. The problem number 1 of our discussion on design of worm gear states that design a worm gear drive to transmit 12 kilowatts at 1200 rpm. The speed reduction designed is 30:1. You can observe how high is the speed reduction. The worm is made of hardened steel of allowable static strength of 210 megapascals, and gear is made of phosphorus bronze of allowable static strength of 90 megapascals. The teeth are 14.5 degree. Now, this question was asked in the BTU examination in January-February 2021. Let us solve this problem. If I list out the data given for this problem, we have power to be transmitted is 12 kilowatts, and we have the speed of pinion, that is worm, which is 1200 rpm. The speed reduction, I reduction ratio is specified as 30, and we have sigma 1, which is 210 megapascals. The worm is made of hardened steel, and The gear is made of phosphorus bronze with sigma 2 as 90 megapascals. It is made of phosphorus bronze. And he has given the value of alpha, which is 14.5 degrees. Now I want to design this worm gear completely. So whenever the pit circle diameter is not known, that is whenever he has not specified the center distance, in step 1 we have to determine the number of teeth on pinion. Step 1 is to find number of threads on pinion. In order to find number of threads on pinion, I can refer table 12.28. Since center distance is unknown, refer table 12.28 B from page number 244 of our design data handbook written by K. Mahadevan and K. Balavir Reddy. We are referring 4th edition. Now if you observe, there he has specified that for I over 20, if speed reduction ratio is more than 20, then we should adopt Z1 is equal to 1. So therefore I have taken the number of threads on pinion as 1, referring to table 12.28b, page number 244. It is clearly specified for speed reduction more than 20, we should take the single strat worm or pinion. Next, moving ahead in step 2, I should calculate module. Whenever the pit circle diameter is not given, in order to find module, we should equate tangential load equation based on torque with the tangential load equation by Lewis strength. So equating these two equations, I can determine the module. So let us do that. In order to find module, first find tangential load based on torque in terms of module. So we have the equation for tangential load given by 2mte divided by d2. So this is from equation 12.53d, referring to page 223 of our design data handbook. Now coming for MTE, that is equivalent torque, which is given by actual torque into load factor. We have specified this equation below this equation itself, and also we know that MT is given by 9.55 into 10 to the power of 6 into P by N. Don't multiply service factor, he himself is giving it as load factor. Kindly make a note. Now if I substitute and solve, I will get MT as 9.55 into 10 to the power of 6 into power to be transmitted is 12 kilowatts divided by, I don't know N2, because we should always design for gear. So kindly make a note, always design for worm gear. Kindly make a note, because in worm gearing arrangement, always worm we will consider as worm driving the worm gear. So worm gear is the driven and worm gear is the weaker member. So therefore I should find the value of N2. So we know that I is equal to N1 by N2, hence N2 will be 1200 divided by 30, which is nothing but 40 RPM. So I can find the value of torque now, which is turning out to be 9.55 into 10 to the power of 6 into power is 12 kilowatts divided by 40 RPM, which is 2865,000 Newton millimeters. From table 12.33 referring to page 248. So whenever the load factor is calculated based on machineries, whenever the machinery is not specified and also is not specified the load factor, always assume the load factor as 1.5 and solve. This is because the worm gears are employed to transmit very high loads. So whenever machinery is not specified, machineries is not specified, always assume the load factor KL as 1.5. So considering the load factor as 1.5, and if I solve, I will get the equivalent torque MTE. Torque equivalent is turning out to be, so this is multiplied by 1.5, that is 4297,500 Newton millimeters. Now if I observe the equation 12.53D, we have calculated equivalent torque, but we don't know the value of D2. So we know that module M2, module of gear, it is M2, that is what we are calculating here, that is M. So M2 is equal to D2 by Z2. So therefore D2 is equal to MZ2. Make a note that this module is equal to D by Z holds good only for worm gear, it won't holds good for pinion. Kindly make a note that module is not equal to D by Z for pinion, it is holds good only for worm gear. Very, very important. So now I can substitute this in equation 12.53D and find the value of tangential load in terms of module as 2 times 429,500 divided by D2 is M into Z2. So Z2 is also not known to us. So therefore we know that I is equal to Z1 by Z2. So therefore Z2 is also equal to 30 teeth. So hence substitute Z2 is equal to 30. So therefore Ft is equal to 2 times 429,7500 divided by 30, which is turning out to be 286500 by M newtons. So since we have not yet calculated the module, we are determining the tangential load in terms of module divided by module. So unit will be in newtons. Let us take it as equation A. Now similarly you find the tangential load in terms of module and CV, because CV depends on velocity, velocity depends on pitch circle diameter. Since pitch circle diameter is not known, I cannot calculate the coefficient of velocity. So therefore calculate Ft using Lewis equation in terms of CV and module. So next B, find tangential load using Lewis equation in terms of CV and module which are unknown to us. So therefore we know that Lewis equation is given by Ft is equal to sigma d2 CV B capital by M. This is equation 12.53a referring to page 223 of our design data handbook. So now I don't know the value of CV, I know the value of sigma d2. Sigma d2 is 90 megapascals. B is not known. B is equal to 10 m, always if not given, that is 10 times the module. And coming for capital Y, it is equal to pi times small y, where small y is Lewis form factor. So small y, Lewis form factor, can be taken from table Lewis form factor can be taken from table 12.5, or I can use equation 12.5c to 12.5e. So let me use the equation for more accurate answer. So therefore for 14.5 degree we have Lewis form factor is given by y is equal to 0.124 minus 0.684 by Z2. This is for 14.5 degrees from equation 12.5c. So if I substitute Z2 as 30 and solve, I will get 0.124 minus 0.684 by 30, which is nothing but 0.1012. 0.1012 is the Lewis form factor, and I don't know the value of M. So therefore if I solve, I will get the value of Ft as Ft is turning out to be 90 into CV into B is 10 times the module into capital Y is pi times small y into module. So therefore Ft is 90 into 10 into pi into y. Y value is 0.1012, which is known to me. So therefore I will get the answer as 286.136 CV into module square. Take this as equation B. 286.136 CV into module square is the value of Ft based on Lewis equation. Now equate equation A and B to solve for m cube CV. It is turning out to be the same form which we have employed so far. That is, for whenever pitch circle diameter is not given, we are solving for m cube CV. To that form only it is reducing now. So equating equation A and B, I will get equating equation A and equation B. So we have 286.136 CV module square is equal to 286,500 by m. So therefore m cube CV required will be 286,500 divided by answer, which is 1001.27. Now, as usual, by trial and error method, let us calculate the value of module. So now as usual from trial and error find module, that is, let us assume module first. If I assume module, I can find the value of diameter d2. d2 will become m into z2, because d2 is mz2 is already known to us. So once I find the value of d2, I can find the velocity v. V is given by d2 m2 by 60,000. So once I find the velocity, I can find cv. cv is given by 6.1 divided by 6.1 plus v. So this is from equation 12.53c. This is from equation 12.53c, referring to page 223. So always we should solve by considering dynamic load. If I consider dynamic load, I will get the equation for CV like this. So once you do this, the final thing is that you should calculate m cube CV adopted. So first, let me assume the module as 3 and start. So first, let me assume the module as 3. If I assume module as 3, d2 will become 3 into 30, which is 90. So therefore, velocity will become pi times 90 into n2 is 40 divided by 60,000, which is turning out to be 0.188. So CV will become 6.1 divided by 6.1 plus V, which is 0.97. Therefore, m cube CV will become 26.19, which is, we are very, very far away. So therefore, directly I will jump to 10 and check. Let me jump directly to 10 and check. If I assume module as 10, then d2 will become 10 3 is 30, therefore it is 300, and velocity will become pi times 300 into 40 by 60,000, which is 0.628. So therefore, CV will become 0.91. So 10 cube into 0.91 is turning out to be 907. So we are approximately near to 1000. So therefore, the next higher value will give us the answer. I cannot take 11 because I should choose module from table 12.2 giving preference 1. From table 12.2 only I should select. If I refer table 12.2 of page number 229, we don't have 11 in the preference 1. So therefore I should go for 12. So hence I should go for 12 as module. If I go for 12, I will get diameter as 12 into 30, which is 360 mm, and velocity will become pi dn is 40 divided by 60,000, which is 0.754. 0.754 meters per second. Hence CV is 6.1 by 6.1 plus answer, which is 0.89. So therefore, m cube CV 12 cube into answer is 1538. We are well ahead from the required value. So therefore m cube CV adopted is 1538, whereas m cube CV required is 1000. So therefore I can adopt module as 12. So hence adopt module as 12, diameter as 360, velocity as 0.754, and coefficient of velocity CV as 0.89. So therefore I adopt module as 12. So we have found out the module for this problem. The module for this problem is turning out to be 12 millimeters. Let me pause this video for a while so that people can copy it down. Later we will move on to step number 3. Now moving ahead for step number 3. In step number 3 we are going to calculate, it is to find tangential load Ft and diameter of the worm d1 and lead angle gamma, and also we are going to calculate the center distance A. A stands for center distance. Now coming for calculation of Ft, tangential load, from equation A we already found that Ft is equal to 2,86,500 by module, which we have determined in step number 2. I am recalling it. So now substituting the module as 12. This is from equation A of step number 2. This is from equation A of step number 2. So therefore Ft is turning out to be 2,86,500 divided by 12, which is 23,875. 23,875 newtons. Now coming for determining the value of diameter of worm, it is not like what we had done for bevel gear, helical gear or for spur gear. Here the value of speed reduction ratio I is not equal to d2 by d1. That is a problem. So therefore you should know that the diameter of the pinion in case of worm gearing, that is the diameter of worm, is approximately equal to 3 times the circular pitch. I'll repeat, diameter of the worm is nearly equal to 3 times the circular pitch. Kindly make a note. So you should know this concept. In a worm gearing, the diameter of the pinion or worm is nearly equal to 3 times the circular pitch. So therefore, first let me calculate the circular pitch. Circular pitch is given by pi m. So therefore, I will get the answer as 12 pi. This is from equation 12.46a, page number 220. So referring to page number 220, equation 12.46a, I have taken the circular pitch. So now we should know that diameter of worm or pinion is 3 times the circular pitch. So therefore, which is approximately equal to, diameter of pinion will be approximately equal to 3 times circular pitch is 12 pi, 12 into pi, which is turning out to be 113.097. 113.097 millimeters. So we have found out the approximate value of diameter of the pinion or worm. So now from table 12.29, from table 12.29, referring to page 246 of our design data handbook, for module is equal to 12, for module is equal to 12 mm, and for circular pitch is equal to 12 pi. So 12 pi is nothing but 37.699. So this value is nearer to the reference value what he has given. So therefore I will adopt the reference value as 108 millimeters. 108 millimeters. Kindly note this step, which is very important. We have one more answer, that is 216. 216 is very far from 113. The closest value for 113 is 108. So therefore I am choosing the worm gear with module 12 PC 37.699 and diameter of the worm as 108 millimeters. So we know that lead is given by L is equal to pi m Z1. This is from equation 12.46b, referring to the same page 220. So therefore I will get the value of lead as pi times 12 into Z1 is 1, which is 37.699 mm, which is same as circular pitch. So now I can find the lead angle. Lead angle tan gamma is equal to lead divided by pi d1. This is from equation 12.46e, referring to page 221. So therefore I will get the value of gamma as tan inverse of 12 pi divided by pi times d1 is 108. So I will get the value of gamma as 6.34 degrees. 6.34 degrees. So we are done with the lead angle, and coming for center distance. Center distance A is equal to d1 plus d2 by 2. This you people already know. So d1 is 108 plus d2 is 360 divided by 2, which is 234 millimeters. Efficiency of worm gearing. To find efficiency of worm gearing, so we have the efficiency of worm gearing system is given by eta is equal to tan gamma of 1 minus mu tan gamma divided by mu plus tan gamma. This is from equation 12.57d, referring to page 225. From page number 225, referring to equation 12.57d, we have efficiency for worm gearing. So where mu is also unknown, so mu is given by the equation 0.025 plus 3.281 divided by 1000 times the rubbing velocity, where the rubbing velocity Vr is calculated as pi d1 n1 by 1000. So Vr is turning out to be shift pi times d1 is 108, n1 is rps, that is 1200 by 60 into 1000. make a note. Here he has given small n1. Small n1 stands for RPS. So rubbing velocity is turning out to be 6.786 meters per second. A very important note should be noted down is that in the equation of mu, he has specified the range less than 2.5 V. Kindly correct it. It is the range for rubbing velocity VR. So this is the equation for coefficient of friction if VR is greater than 2.5 meters per second. So if rubbing velocity is less than 2.5 seconds, I should adopt the former equation which is available in page number 226. So this mu equation is from equation 12.60b referring to page 226. Kindly make a note. The range is based on VR, rubbing velocity. Correct it. He has misprinted it as based on V. It is based on VR. Correct the dead handbook. So now if I substitute and solve, I will get the coefficient of friction mu as 0.025 plus 3.281 into rubbing velocity 6.786 divided by 1000. So coefficient of friction is turning out to be 0.047. So therefore efficiency of worm gearing system is tan of 6.34 into 1 minus 0.047 into tan of 6.34 divided by mu is 0.047 plus again tan of 6.34, which is turning out to be 0.699, which is nearly equal to 70%. Since the efficiency of worm gearing is greater than 50%, this is not self-locking worm gear system. Next, moving for step number 5. Step number 5 is for checking for strength. You have to check for strength. First, determine dynamic load. Dynamic load FD is given by sigma D B capital by M. This is equation 12.54. Of page 223. So if I observe tangential load equation, I can write directly FD as F tangential divided by CB. So we know that tangential load is 23875 divided by CB is 0.89. So therefore the dynamic load is 23,875 divided by 0.89, which is 26,875. 26,825.8. Let me take it as 826 newtons. 26,826 newtons is dynamic load. Next, moving for wear load. FW, which is given by D2BK. This is from equation 12.62 A, referring to page 227, where the stress factor K is equal to 0.687 from table 12.30, page 246, for hardened steel and phosphorus bronze materials. For hardened steel worm and phosphorus bronze gear, referring to table 12.30 in page number 246, we have the stress factor as 0.687. So we know all the values, so therefore FW will be, wear load is turning out to be, D2 is 360, B is 10 m, that is 120 face width, into K is 0.687. So wear load is 29,678. So since wear load is greater than dynamic load, the design is safe. The design is safe from strength point of view also. So the design is safe from strength point of view. We already know that wear load should be always greater than or equal to dynamic load. We have verified that the wear load is greater than dynamic load. Moving for the final step, that is step 6, is heat balance. Now coming for step 6, heat balance, the first one is heat generated. Heat generated Hg is given by let me write it here. Hg is equal to mu Fn into rubbing velocity divided by cos gamma. This is equation 12.63 A, referring to page 227, where Fn equation is not available for us. You people should remember the equation of Fn, which is given by Ft by cos gamma cos alpha. Kindly remember this equation, kindly make a note of this, very important. This equation is missing in our data handbook. So if I substitute and solve, I will get Fn as, Fn is turning out to be, Ft is known to us, which is 23875, divided by cos of lead angle is 6.34 into cos of alpha is 14.5. So therefore normal load is turning out to be 23875 divided by cos of 6.34 into cos of 14.5 degree, which is 24,812 newtons. So therefore heat generated in watts will be, mu is known to us, mu is 0.047 into Fn is 24,812 into rubbing velocity Vr is 6.786 divided by cos of lead angle is 6.34. So heat generated is 7,962.3 watts, it is joules per second. So next is heat dissipated. Heat dissipation. So we know that heat dissipated is given by 1000 times power transmitted in kilowatts into 1 minus efficiency. This is from equation 12.63b, referring to page 227. So if I substitute and solve, I will get heat dissipated as 1000 into power in kilowatts is 12 kilowatts into 1 minus efficiency 70%, 0.7, which is turning out to be 3600 watts. So since heat generated is greater than heat dissipation, artificial cooling is required. Since heat generated is greater than heat dissipation, artificial cooling is required. So this is the complete solution for problem number 1 of our discussion on worm gearing, for which we have calculated the module, which is turning out to be 12 millimeters, and tangential load is turning out to be 23,875 newtons, and also we have verified that from the strength point of view our design is correct and the design is safe because wear load is greater than dynamic load. So this is how you should solve whenever you encounter a problem on complete design of worm gear when center distance is not given. In our next lecture, I will take up a problem on worm gear where center distance is specified. That's all from this lecture. Thank you all.